Good morning from Biscayne Bay, and as always, while on anchorage, we got projects to do. Today's project is multi-tiered and involves our Garmin chart plotter, which currently isn't working. So let me show you what we got. We bought 12-inch display Garmin chart plotter, and we had to fabricate mounts here to mount it at our helm. And we've been using that, and we love it. Our AIS displays on it and all, but it's not working. And the problem is a simple one, I hope. If you look at the back, and I think this is, I don't know, a design flaw with Garmin. I don't know. Tell me what you think about that. The connectors to the back of the chart plotter, everything's plastic. And what's happened is one of the cords has broken the plug where it goes into the chart plotter. So we can no longer plug into the chart plotter. So what we have to do is remove the chart plotter and repair that connection. And what it is this T here plugs into the back of the chart plotter. And this is our NEMA 2000 backbone coming in, and it goes to the GPS unit. And you can see the plug broke. So what I got to do is take this apart and get to the other side of the plug and find a way to refasten it. Now, another part of the problem that I'm going to resolve is the mount. You see, I got a board here I screwed it down to, and it's bolted through and it's gotten loose. And I want to put a shield back here to protect these plastic connections from getting bumped into. In rough weather, the boat's rocking back and forth. It's easy to fall and attempt to grab onto it. So let's get this dismounted, take it down and put it on the table and take it apart and see if we can fix the connection first. And then we'll work on remounting and shielding these plastic connectors and wires from damage again. Our chart plotter is a Garmin GPS Map 5212. Really like this thing, so to try and get in here to fix this, I think I got to take all the screws out along the perimeter. I've got a precision tool kit here. Put a little pair of vice grips on it to kind of help me get them broke loose. And we'll see if we can remove this, separate it from the front cover. And get to this, I may have to unplug all of these, you know, to where they'll slide back in through the housing. I don't know, we'll see when we get in there. So let's take some screws out. Okay, first big challenge. I've got a screw, the head is stripped. Even put vice grips on here and a lot of pressure. All the other screws broke loose except that one. So we're breaking out the big guns. These are left-hand drill bits. They drill in the direction that the screws would loosen. Not a lot of people got these, but hopefully the drill bit will grip as it's attempting to drill the screw out. If not, I'll just drill the screw out. But a lot of times the drill bit will grip enough to unscrew the screw. So let's give this a try. All right, come on, baby. Grab that screw, back it out. Part of the problem is, due to the length of the drill bit, I can't get directly square on it. But this is my only option. Drill the head off this screw or catch enough of it to get it out. Let's put a little lube on it. Well, being off center didn't help. It broke the 1/8 drill bit. So let's get a bigger drill bit and just drill the head off the screw. All right, let's try and drill the head of the screw off. These are what the screws look like, but that one is seized. And you can see where I've drilled the head of it off. So it'll no longer be an obstruction to getting this apart. And I've also breached the case a little bit, but that's what they make JB Weld for. So let's get the rest of the screws out and see if I can get this apart. And the second screw is stripped, this one in the corner. You can see where the case actually split. The electrolysis bound this one up so much. So all I can say is drill the head off. Maybe the bit will grab it and spin it out. We did get it to move some, but worst comes to worst, we'll just drill the head off. I had to get evil with that screw. Since the housing split, it couldn't get it out, but it would spin when I'd try and drill it left or right. So I tried cutting the head off with a burr grinder, but it kept spinning there too, so I ended up using a cutoff disc on my side grinder, and that's what cut that screw off. So another one down. Let's take the rest out, see if we can get it apart. Okay, the moment of truth. See if we can open it up. I got all the screws out. And what do we see? A computer. But I'm going to have to unplug this one cord. A couple cords to get the top off. So let's do that next. And here we go. I've separated the two halves. Had to unplug a couple things. But that's done. Now I've got to take this board off so I can get to where the plug connections are in the back, because that's where the problem is. Okay, we got that board up. Here's the broken wire. We're going to try and detach it from the board down there and glue with JB Weld the plastic fitting back together. And we're definitely taking advantage of some high-powered magnification to figure all this out and get this back together right. So we're going to JB Weld this back together. Instead of JB Weld, we're using super glue, 2-part epoxy. To glue this connection back together. I'll just let this harden. Should take about 5 minutes according to the directions. And then we'll give all this a spray down with WD-40. You can see we're getting a little corrosion. Little corrosion there. It's saltwater environment. But if it works, it works. If not, another trip to West Marine. Break out another couple $1,000s. Okay, the epoxy is set up. We're putting silicone paste on the underside to help get a good seal. Let's see. Oops. Put this in. And then we'll put the nut on the other side with the O-ring to hold it to plug in to the connection outside. All right, the plug is repaired and back in place. It's actually that one. You can see the O-ring slipped out a little bit because the plug ain't configured the way it originally was. I got it packed with silicone grease, so I'm confident it still seals. But now, since we got evidence of corrosion, we're just going to give everything a wash down with WD-40. This was developed by the U.S. Army to protect ballistic missiles. So I'm confident I'm not hurting anything. And we'll see if it works. If not, let's break out another couple $1,000. Now there is a thin rubber gasket on the bottom side of this that you can see. Where's it at? Let's get you a good view of it. Right in here. You see that little gasket? So what we're doing is putting some dielectric grease along this leading edge here. And that'll lubricate that gasket and help seal it. Okay, the moment of truth. Got it all back together, all plugged in. Let's see if it works. I've always had to play with this button sometimes to get it on.
I saw something.
Let's give it a minute to warm up here. I know it's hard to see in the glare, but it's alive! Boom! Oh, I'm scoping out. And there we are. Dinner cut key. Let's zoom in. Success! We have a chart plotter back. I like it. First computer I ever fixed. Woohoo! Now it just made more work for me because I got to build the brackets and all to protect it, so I never have to go through this again. But that probably saved me $5 grand. Okay, time for me to fess up. I celebrated too early. The chart plotter is not working properly. It did turn on, but it's not getting the GPS signal. So I've diagnosed it as that broken connection. And my solder job, let me show you. I'm no electronics master, but I did get the wire soldered on what I thought was the correct pattern. I was wrong about the pattern. And nowhere could I find a schematic that could tell me that pattern, but that is the correct pattern. And how do I know? Well, I needed a chart plotter, so I broke down and bought a used chart plotter. Of course, used or 10 years old. Same model. Been out of production 10 years. On Facebook Marketplace. Supposedly it's working, test it, yada, yada, yada. Bottom line is it don't work, it don't even turn on. So I've taken it apart and I'm scavenging. So I scavenged the wire harness out of it that I needed, that was broken on mine, and using a continuity tester, which I have, a Klein, it's a nice meter, I was able to go pin to socket and figure out what the correct orientation of the wires on the pins were. Now these are wrong, but I'm gonna save this and I'll save the old one for more parts. But I have the correct pattern. I got a picture of it. I got to document it. I'll write it down on the page of the manual I got for it. But look at that little epoxy repair I did to the plastic fitting, because I called Garmin. You cannot buy parts for this. Garmin won't sell you parts. So we're going to put the harness in out of the one we bought off Facebook Marketplace, and I'm confident we can sing that happy dance when we're done. Booyah! Now I can do the happy dance. My chart plotter is repaired. How do I know it's repaired? Well, one, if you look down here, it says we are in Biscayne Bay. Oops, let's zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Biscayne Bay. Instead of out by the 7-mile bridge outside Marathon, where apparently this broke and got its last GPS reading, this is the correct GPS position for us here in Biscayne Bay. And you can see now we have a GPS heading we didn't have. And now with that information, the AIS is functioning. See all these boats with their AISs on? You tap that, it says it's the fever. You tap the fever. That didn't work. I'm used to the other ones. AIS vessel, let's tap it. Boom, his AIS is sleeping. But that's his position. He's 0.8 nautical miles away. 0 knots, bearing 324. So, we are back. We are back big time. Turn that off. Go back. Stop panning. And our chart plotter is repaired. Woohoo! I am not an electronics technician. First computer I ever fixed, but I am happy.